Hey guys, what's up? It's
Hey.
Bailey and Randy, and today we are doing a Q&A video all about our cruise ship experience. So if you don't know, from January to April we were working on a cruise ship out of Australia as the acoustic duo.
We asked for your cues. We've got some A's.
First question is a featured patron question from John Yantoska, and he actually has a bunch of questions here, so this will be fun. How did you guys find out about this kind of opportunity? Well, we had a couple friends who had done cruise ships before, and I guess that's kind of how we heard.
Yeah.
What advice can you give to starting young musicians and singers who are trying to find employment in the music world, either full-time or short-term gigs? You really have to love what you're doing because it is very hard to find full-time employment. It's a struggle for us, and it's really just like a combination of a lot of things, and that's why you really have to love it, because you're always working to find work.
Right. You're also always against the person that will do it for free. Because we work in an industry where it's really fun to do what we do, a lot of people will do it as a hobby, a lot of people will do it for free, and that means we're often competing against people who are selling themselves for free, essentially. So branding is huge.
Yeah.
Like you have to have something that's a little bit different than everybody else, and you kind of have to know what market you're interested in getting into, and then know what that market wants to hear. So.
And then just be confident in yourself, and don't be afraid to sell yourself and say, like, yeah, I'm not doing it for free because I'm better than free.
Right.
You need to pay for me because I'm good. What were your favorite places you visited off hours, or things you could do on the ship in your free time? Favorite place for me was Fiji, I would say. There was like 11 of us. We all piled into a taxi van, and we went up this giant mountain, and the drive was just like, the views on the drive were just crazy amazing. And then we got up to the top of this mountain, and like there was this little mom and pop's mud bath like place that they just ran, and it was really fun. We got to bathe in mud in Fiji, which is like a crazy thing that I can say.
They're just like, yeah, go over to those buckets and start like covering yourself. So we're just like, okay, digging into this thick mud and just like rubbing it all over.
I'll insert some pictures here.
And the lady's like, no, you gotta get it on your faces too, so yeah.
Things you could do on the ship in your free time, there wasn't really too much. I would say like eat, sleep,
walk around,
and gym.
practice.
Okay, next question is from Aditya Siraj. What do you think about India?
#India.
We didn't go to India, but I think it's cool. Is there anywhere that you didn't go that you would like to?
I'd love to see more of Australia, but actually to be able to go into Australia.
For sure, yeah. Our home base was Brisbane, Australia, but that was probably actually where we saw the least out of all the places that we went, because we would just be there to get old passengers off, new passengers on, and we'd have like maybe 3 hours in Brisbane, but like in the same area every single time, and we never had enough time to actually like go out in Australia and explore Australia. So we hardly saw any of Australia. So
I didn't see a kangaroo, and I was really disappointed.
yeah. Okay, next question is from Black Miner 2000. How is it like to be the whole time on board, and how was the food? The living corridors were really tiny. We were in a little tiny room in bunk beds.
They weren't very well taken care of either. It was very moldy and just smelled. And
living where you work was another thing. Having to be on all the time, and then the food was decent.
it was pretty good, yeah.
The only thing that got tough about it was like it was the same thing every single day. What is it like for you when passengers leave the ship and 4 hours later they're replaced with a whole new set of people?
That's the best day ever. After like a 14-day cruise, when we're like dealing with the same passengers, we want to not repeat our rep. And
living where you work is hard, and then when you're like living where you work with
people that get to know you,
people who are listening to you every single day, it's just nice to see fresh faces, for sure.
What was your favorite part of cruising? My favorite part was going to Tonga, basically a little speck out in the water between Australia and South America. And we went to this little cave and went cave swimming, and like it was just, yeah, like the fact that I can say I went cave swimming in Tonga, bucket list for sure. This next question is from Jeff Andrew Peter. How many fedoras did Randy pack on the trip? Jeff, I don't wear fedoras. Did he wish he packed more? No.
Yeah. Okay, next question is from John Costin. Was it rough at all? Did you get seasick?
By the end of our trip, we were going in and out of hurricanes pretty much on a weekly basis. There was one day when we had 10-meter swells, 9 to 10-meter swells, which is basically like 30 feet. You basically feel like you're 1,000 pounds and then you're skydiving, and it does that all day long.
But I didn't actually ever get seasick from it. Yeah, it just kind of got exhausting on the
doors hitting you. Like our room was so small and doors were just hitting us constantly.
Did you ever feel isolated in such a confined living space, being with the same people and away from your family?
Yes. By the end, we were getting a little snippy with each other.
Yeah. What was the biggest audience size? Did any other people join in for a song performance or other audience participation?
Biggest audience size, probably about 300. So sometimes we'd have like these group events, like a Beatles night or something. And
we had like a farewell musician show at the end of every cruise where all the musicians would...
It's like up on the pool deck. It's like a big farewell, so it's kind of cool.
Tell us about your first stage performance. Very first performance we did was a sail away performance, so it was while the ship was leaving the home port, and it was super cool.
Yeah, we had like a view of Brisbane, and then the ship goes out, does a 180 in the river, and then it shoots down the river. So the first time the ship was actually moving out is really cool. It's like, this is kind of, you know, is what we've been waiting for.
Yeah, it was cool that we got to play like on the outside pool deck to like actually see the sail away happening as opposed to like in a little like dark bar.
Yeah.
What was your most favorite moment during the entire journey, Mrs. Bailey? Probably when we were in Sydney for Australia Day. We watched the sail into Sydney while like the sun was rising, and we sailed underneath the harbor bridge and like past the opera house, and that was just such a cool moment. Yeah.
Why was the tenure shortened? There was a 4-piece party band. That 4-piece party band, their contract ended, and they hired a 6-piece party band to come in and replace them. Basically, they just went, oh, we hired a 6-piece band, where are we gonna put them? Let's get rid of the duo, then we'll free up the room. They said, hey, you guys, we're ending your contract, but we're gonna put you on a different ship 3 weeks after, so we'll give you 3 weeks holidays, you'll jump onto another ship. And we said, we don't really wanna do that.
Kind of signed a contract saying we'd go from this day to this day, because we wanted to go from this day to this day. Yeah, it was pretty crappy that happened, but it wasn't anything that like we did wrong or anything. It was just bad corporate planning on their part.
Strangest songs requested. I hate to say it, but it's all the old people. It's the old guys that come in and they're like, play this song nobody's ever heard of.
And it's like an old Australian folk song that they think is the best song ever, but nobody's ever heard.
So like
them.
To which our response is, if there's 4 people in this room that have it on their iPod, we'll play it. What did you wish you had packed both instrument and non-instrument wise? What do you wish you had packed? I think we overpacked a bit.
Yeah, I think we did. There's a lot of stuff that we brought that we didn't end up using or needing. I brought like a bunch of video stuff, bunch of my lights, bunch of like tripods and everything, and
it was so hard.
Couldn't use lights even if I wanted to, because there's no outlets on the ship, and if there were, they were Australian. Nowhere to record, no time or space to do it without passengers.
Everything just sounded like ship noise. It was really difficult
everything
to produce
sounded like ship.
Yeah.
Okay, next question is from David Harley. Did you and Randy get to finish your duets album? Yes,
we did.
So there's a long, frustrating story about this. We worked on this album to sell it on the ship because they told us we could sell albums on the ship. So we're like, cool, we're gonna make one. We recorded everything before we left, had it all ready to go, and then we didn't actually get to order the CDs until we were in Australia. So it took us like 4 or 5 trips, like being in Brisbane for like the 2 or 3 hours that we were there. We went to a Starbucks, did a little bit of work on the CD, tried to order them, got the album artwork done, got all the licensing for it, went back on the ship for a week, came back to that same Starbucks, worked on it more, went back on the ship, came back to that, and it was like 4 or 5 times of that. Finally, we got it all ordered. We couldn't get it sent to the ship. So luckily, Randy had a friend in Brisbane, and she said that she would, kindly have the CDs ordered to her house, and then we could pick them up from there. That took close to a month, and then we found out that they tried to deliver the CDs when she wasn't home like 2 or 3 times, and then they just gave up. So then it was actually at the DHL factory in Brisbane. Another week goes by on a cruise. We finally get back into Brisbane again. We spend like $60 on a cab to get to the DHL location. What did they say?
They said, first of all, it's the wrong DHL location. It was actually at the other one. And they said, we can't search without a tracking number. Can you bring up the tracking number? I said, no, I don't have internet.
No luck. So then we had to get another cab ride back to the ship, go another like 2 weeks, get back to Brisbane, and then we finally go to the right DHL location. For that, we had to call to figure out like if it was gonna even be possible, because we're not gonna spend that much money on a cab ride again.
Yeah. I forgot about this.
We went to a grocery store and we just asked the cashier if I could like use her cell phone to call this place. So she was really nice.
She was fine with it.
She let us use like her personal phone. I spoke to the girl at the DHL place and she's like, yeah, that's fine. But if you didn't order it under your own name, like you're gonna need permission from the person that is on the delivery name.
Bear in mind, we don't have internet. I don't have her phone number.
It's also like 7 a.m. at this point.
The chance of getting hold of her in the next 20 minutes is very little.
We have like the old message history of like Randy being like, hey, can we deliver these to your house? And her being like, yeah, sure. Based on how the rest of this situation has gone, we're gonna like be sure. So we're in a cab on the way there. I'm in the back seat on my computer photoshopping this Facebook message from Randy's friend saying, I blah 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 give Randy Rector permission to pick up CDs from this location.
So I screenshotted our conversation, airdropped it to her in the cab. She's editing it.
We're not gonna use the Photoshop
I don't wanna lie.
picture until the last case scenario. So like if they're really like, no, we can't do it, we're gonna be like,
bam.
So we finally get the CDs. We get back on the ship. We're like, here are CDs. Can we sell these? And they're like, yeah, but we need to send them to head office to get approved.
Which is in California.
So that takes about like 2 weeks.
Bear in mind, we're about a month and a half into our contract now.
Yeah.
And we're on the ship for 3.5 months.
And then we find out that our contract is going to get shortened. So when it's all said and done, by the time we left the ship, our CDs hadn't got approved and we didn't sell a single one. But it made a great story, didn't it?
Yeah.
All right, that's all the questions. So thank you so much to everyone who sent in questions. Definitely an amazing experience, but we're happy to be back and happy to be doing more videos. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. So
bye guys.
Stay tuned. Bye.